Hello, Mac-Haydn family! Erin Spears here. You might remember me from my past directing work on Little Shop of Horrors, and also my performances of Alice in the creepy, kooky Addams Family, and last season as Jessica Cranshaw in Curtains, where I promptly died. Since we were so sad we missed you this summer, we decided we were going to creep into your home and teach you some fun Halloween tips, tricks, and some treats. For our first project, we're going to start out with something that's actually a hybrid between a cool looking home decor item and a culinary treat that you can put on your spooky spread. It's going to be a puking pumpkin. For the puking pumpkin project, your supplies should include a pumpkin, various sizes of knives, a scooper and some tongs for those guts, and a little handy thing for a trick that we'll learn later, a corn skewer, and last but not least, something for the puke. We're going to use guacamole. It's showtime. So our first step is to carve our pumpkin. We all know that we need to cut the top of the pumpkin out. My little trick that I learned from my family is you want to make a little notch so that the top of the pumpkin, the stem, ends up going in like a puzzle piece. So you can freehand this if you want. This pumpkin's a little small, so I'm actually going to take a Sharpie and put it around. I like to use one of the little triangular sections of the stem to make my little notch. So I'm going to come around, do that. Super quick. Then I'm gonna get in here with the knife.
No! No!
Always be careful, practice safety first. Make sure when you're cutting your stem out, you're cutting in at an angle, because if you just do everything straight in, your stem's just gonna fall right in, and then you're not gonna have any topper. The guts. Time to scoop. Make sure you reserve those guts, because we're going to use them later. Make sure you cut off the excess of those guts on your top, because these will rot and go bad if you don't. There might be some of you out there that might be a little scared about just cutting with abandon, because sometimes if you cut through something, then you can't go back. My parents always said, measure twice and cut once. Here's a trick for some of you who might want a little bit more of a guide. Get a piece of paper and some tape and tape it on the front of your pumpkin. Then, use that handy tool I told you we were gonna use, the corn cob skewer. And then measure down, see about how far you want the top of your design. Do a little hole here. That's gonna make a hole in your paper and on your pumpkin so that you can line this back up after you've done your design. Also see how far down you want it. Obviously you don't wanna cut a mouth that's all the way down here, because then you're gonna see the candle inside. So you wanna make sure it's up a little bit, do another little hole, then take a look at the front of it and see how wide you want your design. Do another reference point and another reference point. Then you can just take the paper off and then draw your design and then stick it back on. So give me a minute while I go draw this. Now that you have your design ready, I decided to go for more of a scary puking pumpkin. You can do something that looks like terrified with, eyebrows going up and down, whatever you want. But once you get it back on your pumpkin, you want to go in with that skewer and you want to outline all of these lines, and they're just going to transfer to your pumpkin without getting black Sharpie that you might not perfectly cut out of your pumpkin and then it's stuck on there. So that's a little trick, is getting these little dots transferred to the pumpkin. Voila. This time I'm going to go back in with a little bit more of a flimsy serrated knife so that I can get into these little nooks and crannies a little bit easier, and the serration does the work for me. Here's trick, if you want to add some dimension to the face of your pumpkin, you can shave sections of it off and a little bit of the light will come through. So I'm actually going to make these teeth stand out a little bit more. I did my little stenciling from the poker before, and I'm just going to very, very carefully with an X-Acto, or if you have one of those pumpkin carving kits at home, they actually come with scrapers that are a little more safe to use around kids and stuff. You can use that as well. But I'm just gonna come through and I'm just gonna shave a little bit of the orange section off. And there you go, we have a tooth revealed. What's that, Ophelia?
What do you think of my wonderful voice?
Oh, right. I need to remind them about the other special event coming up. We're gonna have a fun special performance for you by Gabe Blue. He will be reading something eerie and spooky. In conjunction with that, one of our fabulous set designers, Erin Spears, is going to make some artwork that goes along with the story that we're gonna auction off to you guys, and the proceeds go to our Bright Future Fund to make sure that the Mac-Haydn can keep going. Make sure you follow our social media in the links below to see when those events are gonna pop up. Once you're finished carving your pumpkin, find a fun little platter that you want to put it on. Get whatever puke item you've chosen to use. You can use guacamole, which looks the most realistic, or you could do like some fun Halloween candy or candy corn or something coming out of it. So make sure that you just plop your puke right on in there and then save some to shove in the mouth. So it looks like your pumpkin is actually puking it out. And spread it all out. A little bit more, just trickling down there. And then to add even more of a fun effect, you can use the pumpkin guts, like he's literally puking his guts out, and maybe a little coming out of his nose, because we all know what that happens. So gross. And then add your chips. And with the chips you have left, make sure that you splatter them around, not on the floor. Last but not least, you need your light source because it is a jack-o'-lantern after all. So you can use a candle if you want, but I nowadays have gone towards more of a battery-operated light source, just so that you don't have to worry about leaving it. So I'm gonna put these little fairy lights in there, top it off, and then turn down the lights. Thanks for watching, and make sure that you tune in next time for more Halloween tips, tricks, and treats. And make sure to follow our social media for our other fun events coming up. See you next time.